Welcome back, everybody. Episode 35, Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. And I'm Colleen Lindberg. For those of you new to my world, welcome. Super excited to serve you in this capacity. I am just so grateful you guys are here to listen. I'm going to talk about a little bit of a controversial subject today, and we're going to move into the energy of distortion. And what does this actually mean in our worlds right now? And how is this showing up in our field of awarenesses? And I'm going to give you some examples in this podcast and dive in to some of the industries that are actually playing a huge role in creating distortions in our field that are literally keeping us limited in our energetic capacities. And for those of you that have been doing enlightenment work and been doing ascension and awakening work and clearing your fields and shadow work, you are going to be moving through this energy now. You are going to start to see this in your awareness. You're going to start to see this showing up. You are going to start to feel this in your fields. And I want to talk it out. I want to speak truth into it. I want to give you all the juiciness. And I am. It's episode 35, Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. And if at any point in time you feel something from this, please take a screenshot, tag us on Instagram, help me spread the message out in this light warrior energy, because all of us are in this together. All right, enjoy. Well, this is going to be a fun conversation today for us to talk about, and fun in parentheses, I mean, because I think this is like some of those conversations that are like actually really hard to have and to hold, because I'm about to burst some bubbles for some of you. And maybe you're not prepared to hear the bubble being burst, and maybe you're not prepared to step into that, and that's okay. So I want to really give this reframe at the beginning of this is just like anything in life, I desire you to take from this what you can, what you're being called to, and what makes sense in your vibration. Right. So we need to remember and really recognize that every single one of us is in a different frequency. And some of us are vibing like way the fuck out there, like me, playing in the ethers and having a great time, but also very rooted and grounded with earth energy, where some of you are just awakening. Some of you are just moving through this. Some of you are, in the beginning phases, or you're in the middle and you're still questioning dynamics of your life. Right. And every single pathway and every single vibration and every single frequency is needed right now on this earth exactly as you are. So I just want to say this out loud before we start to move into this conversation today about distortion, because for some of you, you may not feel this yet. And for some of you, you may not recognize this yet. And for some of you, you may be like, holy shit, yes, right? And you may be like feeling this vibe and it's all in, and you're like, I totally get it and feel this. And that's another confirmation. And thank you for the clarity. And some of you may be sitting here listening to this, or driving with this on your ear, or you're at work and you have me on your ear and you're like, fuck for real. Like that's maybe what the hell is going to go through your field. But this was brought on by a couple of different things. So back in November, I created the infrastructure for the programs that I was going to teach in 2023. And when I leaned in, I just got the name of the program and a line as to what it was. So July's program. So today it's like June 26th that I'm recording this video. And you may hear this later on down the road, which is totally okay, 2023. And in July of 2023, I'm teaching a program that's called like the triple D's. It's like destroy, deconstruct, and I can't remember what the other word is. I haven't started promoting it yet. It won't come out till the end of this week. And it's the distortion program. So it's starting to float through my field of awareness. Now, I talk about distortion all the time. I talk about the vibrational frequency that people have, that things have, that beings have, that information has. And when it comes into our field, we will be able to feel, the more we awaken, the more we align within ourselves, the more we clear our energy, we will be able to feel if the frequency is off with those people, with those things, with that music, with that teaching. And we call this distortion. The information is distorted for the level of frequency that you're vibrating at. So you can no longer tolerate a certain energy of frequency in your field. And I got a few stories to tell you guys about this, but I want to keep explaining this for a second. So I'm starting to lean into the potency of distortion. Then this morning, one of my one-to-one clients messaged me, and she's probably listening to this podcast, so I'm about to like speak to this about music. So her and her husband were driving yesterday, and he put on this album from some band, And she kept feeling this energy off. Like she was like, what the fuck is this? Like, why can't I hold this energy in alignment? And so I voice noted her back, like we communicate through Voxer. And I said to her, look, you know, she's done some clearings with me. We've done some psychic work. We aligned in her soul mission. We've moved some stuff around, right? And moved some energy through. And I said, what happens now is when we start to clear our energy and we start to do shadow work. She's in one of my shadow programs. And we start to lean in to this new expansion vibration. We start to trust our alignment. We start to trust the pulls coming in from the universe. And we literally start to take action in this trust. Then we're leading within a light field. And every time we do more work there, or every time we start to practice more spirituality, like our meditations, embodiment practices, yoga, and we lean into that, then things start to shift and change around us, and our vibrancy and our frequency raises. So now we're sitting, let's just say, like she was here. If you're watching the video on YouTube, you'll see me. And if you're not and you're listening to the audio, super cool. Like just imagine one plateau, right? So she was here when she first started working with me. Then we moved up a couple of degrees, let's say, and now she's at this new level, looking at life differently, seeing life differently. The distortion's been moved through in some of the aspects of her world. She's making different choices in life. She's taking moves that are in her calling of her heart and starting to see how life can be different when you live in this vibration of alignment, right? So yesterday, when she was in the car with her husband and he put on this album, she was picking up the vibrational frequency of the album, that it no longer can be held in her energy field. Now, for a lot of you, this has happened in your music. Okay, we're talking specifically about music right now. It has happened already. Some of the artists you can't listen to any longer. They feel distorted. You're no longer called to their music. My playlists that I listen to are clean, meaning they're all channeled vibrationally through light. The people that are stepping into the space of them are holding a vibration. Now, I do have a country playlist that does have some distortional artists on it still. However, I have a very strong barrier of protection around me. So when I drop into my country playlist, I can hold it at least to some degrees. If I listen to that in a state where I am dropped, not fully embodied, I will not be able to hold the energy of it. And I will drop into a certain vibration listening to that music. But guys, I have awareness in this, right? I have awareness. I've been working in this for a long time, right? And for me, it's about being present in our world. So when you're listening to music, let's talk about this, and you're leaning right into that music and you're bringing it into your body and you're moving your body and you're singing those words, that imprint is getting literally imprinted into you. So you're making a conscious choice at this moment of time to take that music into your body and say yes to its truth. So now if you are in a vibration, if that music vibrates at a lower field than you, it's going to drop your vibration. If it has hypnotic embedded codes behind it, which a lot of artists do now, just to let you know, like Hollywood and the music industry, now not all of the labels are, but a lot of the major labels are owned by what we call elite energy, the cabal. Okay, we'll call it. And I probably shouldn't even fucking said that word on this podcast, because this whole podcast is probably going to get now ex-nade. But it's owned by the elite that do not want you to be in a high vibrational state. If you are owning your pathway and you are living in your intuition and you are shining your bright light out into the world, those people do not want that, because when that happens, you make a ripple effect. It's not just about you. It's you everywhere you go. So when I'm at the gym and I'm fucking sweating my ass off, you know, like this morning, I literally went to the gym. I did a back workout, sitting, sweating my ass off. I'm really going to be sore tomorrow. I know it, because I can already feel my back, and it's been an hour, you know, like since I did my workout. I'm like, I'm going to be in a bit of trouble tomorrow with my back. I potentially won't be wearing bras for a few days. Okay. Just putting that out there, you know, like, do I need to? No, I'll just make sure that the Zoom is like, you know, right above the boobs and up. It's perfect. And the reality of this though is that I can step into that space and hold a vibration. So maybe, and I'm not saying this from an ego perspective, maybe working out with me will help others work out more inclusive, more in alignment. And they don't even know, because of the fact that it's just the energy moving through the room. Right. So the same thing is happening for you guys. The same thing is happening as you move through this level of enlightenment, this level of awareness, this level of awakening. However, most of us do not know that this is a thing, because for the amount of years we've been on Earth, for hundreds of years before this, because all of these infrastructures like owned they're owned by the elite that want to keep you diminished. And we've talked about this numerous times on this podcast. It will consistently be coming up because everything for me is in an energy of truth. You know, I have a dear friend of mine coming onto the podcast into July that we're going to talk about like actually mental illness. And we're going to talk and dive into the dynamics of this, because I really want to shed some light on some of the situations that are happening in the world. And distortion is one of them. The music industry. Now, if we move on to Hollywood, it's the same thing. What the fuck are you watching on Netflix? And some of the things you can hold an energy for. Like I play in the field and people are like, I am a movie person. I love movies. I like to disconnect through TV shows. I have a few that I watch. White Collar over and over again. Suits over and over again. Scandal as well, although it is a little bit, it's owned by ABC. So, and Shonda Rhimes is owned as well by the elite. So there's some distortion in Scandal. So when I dive into Scandal, I literally will go episode here and there. I will never watch the full series again. Same with Sex and the City. It's the exact same thing. However, I do enjoy a little bit of a ranting off of Sex and the City. Shadowhunters I watch consistently. And there's a few shows I can dabble in and out of. However, I really, really encourage everybody to feel and be in awareness as to when you watch these movies and shows, how do you feel after? Do you feel empowered? Do you feel like you're in alignment? Do you feel like you're juicy still? And not to say that you can't be tired, because most of the time we're watching this stuff at night. Tired is different. But do you feel fucking sucked and drained out? Do you feel like you dropped your vibration? Do you feel depressed? Right? These are the signs that something is in your field in distortion. And when you watch these or listen to this music, it plays a role in your energy field. So I don't even know if I told this story before, but like I was drawn to go watch the Super Bowl halftime show this year, Rihanna. Okay. And I was like, I just want to go see. Let me go see what they're imprinting in the world. Because I know Rihanna's owned by the elite. Sam Smith, you know, we see all these fucking people showing up in like their devil costumes on stages, you know, literally those guys, all of them are owned by the elite. Every single one of their music now is embedded with fucking hypnotic programming, guys. Okay. So I put the Super Bowl on, and literally right before the halftime show, they're about to open the halftime show. The Apple symbol in the middle of the TV turns into a hypnotic programming right off the bat. Now, I had already put a sacred geometry symbol and a protection symbol on that television screen before I even turned it on, because I already knew that something was coming through there. They were trying to get, and I was like, fuck, and I can see it. Right. And I felt it right away. And then Rihanna started talking, and then you went and saw the flashings of the lights. The lights flashing on the ground were hypnotizing all the people. Like 7 million people are watching this show, not included all the people in the stands. This fucked up shit. I literally had to turn it off within 2 minutes. Like, no, not even like 30 seconds. I turned it off. This podcast is coming into your field of awareness right now for you to start paying attention. Where is the programming moving through you? Where is it? It's playing out in your field. A couple ways to notice if you are actually in what we call a distortion energy is, are you doubting yourself? That's one of the number one things. Okay, are you doubting yourself? And have you dropped back into a different vibration that you used to be in to now actually step into this space? So over this past weekend, I went to Panama. And if you guys don't know, when you live in Costa Rica, until you get your permanent residency, you have to tap out every 3 months of the country to be able to keep your passport active, to be able to drive still like legally here, and to be in the country legally. So this time I've done it every time in Canada because I've had to go back. But this time around, I went with a couple of my friends' sons. So there's just 3 of us that went together because everyone else has been tapping out in Canada. All my friends are up in Canada right now, or they're about to go to Canada. They're tapping out in different ways. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go with them. I moved some stuff around in my schedule to go. So I didn't have to go alone, which I'm really grateful that I didn't, because it ended up being like a little bit not as planned. And one of the sons was making fun of me, and I totally love him. He was like, Grace and Ease, huh, Colleen? And I was like, maybe I only put that on Saturday, so we had some challenges, but that is actually not even what I want to even talk about today. Is I want to talk to you guys about when we got to Panama. Panama felt like Vegas to me. Okay, so like I live in a small town here in Costa Rica. I'm 10 minutes from the ocean. Well, if I drive, it's like 5, but like probably get there a 15-minute walk. Let's be realistic. And I'm in a working town. We don't have fast food here. Everything that we eat is cooked by somebody, like, and not from a way of it's being frozen. Like the food here in Costa Rica where I live is fresh. Like we eat off the land. I buy stuff from the markets. Like I get all the local farmers locally. Like literally my bananas get cut from a tree, and well, maybe not my bananas because they have to hang a little bit, but all my other things, avocados, they get cut from the tree and come right to my house. Like literally, my coffee that I drink was the beans were roasted the day before I buy the bag at the market. Like that's the kind of living I lived in. We go down to Panama, who used to be owned by the United States. And there's KFC, there's Subway, there's Dairy Queen. And I look at the people and I'm like, the people here in Costa Rica are fit, they're thinner, they take care of themselves because they eat off the land. We don't have that here. In Panama, a lot of people are overweight. There's way more people overweight in Panama than there is here in Costa Rica. And I went, wow. Let's take this into awareness right now. We get off the bus, we take a cab to our hotel, and we have a casino next door. And I drop in, we walk into the hotel, and there's a bar there. And I haven't drank alcohol in like 9 weeks. And I'm like, my MO used to be when I would travel, I'd go down to the bar, I'd have a drink at the bar, I'd chill out, I'd read a book, I would put my feet up, have a couple drinks. That was life for me. When I fly, I'd go to the bar at the airport and do the same thing. Like that was a vibe for me that I held. And when we walked into the hotel to check in, I was like, maybe I will come down to the bar and have a drink. I'm not on a program. I'm not doing a detox. I just made a conscious choice 9 weeks ago to stop drinking alcohol. When that will change, I don't know. Will it ever change? I don't know. Like I have no idea. I'm stepping into the space of following the guidance. And so that pinged into my field of awareness first. And I was like, wait a second. There's got to be some distortion in this place because of the fact that I'm dropping into a lower vibration within me. And not to say that drinking isn't cool or you can't do that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I made a choice in a certain vibrational level to move through some stuff. And the vibration of alcohol does not sit well in my body any longer. I can't hold it. Like the weeks before I started, like before I actually went off of it permanently, whenever I would have a drink, I would get like shards of glass in my stomach. Like I was doing, like my gut was like messed up, right? And now I'm moving through some gut stuff to start to heal the gut to be able to move it through because of the fact that it's such an important part of our infrastructure, of our, immunity, like all of this stuff, right? And I do not claim to know a lot about nutrition, but here's what I know: the energy. So I stepped into the space and I'm in this hotel and I'm like, whoa. So we go up to the room and I said to the guys, I don't know, I may come down here for a drink later. But we end up going to an Italian restaurant and I ate pasta and I actually ordered bread. And I didn't actually eat the bread though when it came, but I ordered bread and then I ordered like onion rings. And I was like, okay, something is off in my vibration, but I'm going to honor this because we're here. We just came on this bus ride. We got through, da 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 da. Okay, that was my excuse in my mind. And then we ended up going to the casino. Now, this could have turned out multiple ways, but I threw down a 20 at the roulette table and one of me being one of the guys, and I'm like, here, take half of the chips, let's play. We ended up winning a bit of money and it ended up covering, like I was not out of pocket at the casino. But when we ran out of chips at the roulette table, I could have, and it came in my mind, let's grab another coin or another $20 bill and put it down again because we were having a lot of fun. But it was like, no, let's go move on to the slots because we had talked about going to the 777s and playing the 777 machines. Just because our bill at dinner was $77.74. So I was like we have to go over there. And so it was just so interesting, the whole space and time of how this whole entire thing kind of played out. And I watched in the awareness of the distortion. When we drop into certain environments, our natural tendency could be to drop back into the lower vibration of who we used to be. Now we've done all this work, we've moved through it, we're in this. Now, some of you live in this vibrational alignment every day and you're battling it daily. I don't have that ability or that happening in my world. I made a conscious choice to move to Costa Rica to get out of Canada because I couldn't hold the capacity there. Maybe you can, and it's different for you, and that is awesome and amazing. But what I'm going to say to you, if you are stepping into this space and you are feeling like you keep getting pulled back down the ladder, you're getting pulled back down the ladder. Your actions, what you're listening to, the people you're associating with and showing up in your life are dictating the energy in your field. So that's the last part I want to talk to you guys about is a distortion with people. When you are doing the work energetically and you are stepping into this new level of space, it is going to be hard for you to be around people that are not moving with your energy flow or that are completely opposing. Now, maybe for a while back in the day, you could have held it, right? You could have been there and you're like, that's just Joanne or that's just Bobby Sue or whatever, right? And you could be there with them and you could hold it. And I'm not saying that we can't still have friends that are like that we can't still have family members there, but we're taking the energy on. So now you've got to be more conscious in that distortion with them in their field to protect your energy to move it through. That's what I want to say to you today is that you don't have to go giving up all the people in your life and be this lone ranger up on the mountaintop, right? Doing your thing in your secluded little cottage, but you can put them in their boxes, right? When you go into like the mom box, let's say, you can put mom in her box and be in the box with mom. But then when you get out, you leave mom in the box and you take yourself out and clear your energy to go do life. Most of us are taking on the energy of all these other people, right? And we're stepping into the space and we're owning it and we're going there. And you're dropping into a vibrational alignment in that space to either fit in or you don't want to rock the boat or you're like, what will they think? You need to start leading your life for you, for you. And outside of that, everything else will move through, everything else will transition, everything else will align. But your job right now is to be able to step into that space and hold it for yourself and see in your life where distortion is playing a role. Now, if you're interested, I'm going to put I'm going to put the link to the Triple D program in the show notes. If you want to go check it out, you can. It's launching in July. If you hear this in August, September, but you're like, that program would have been amazing, I am going to be recording it, so you will be able to buy it as a self-paced program. So click on the link anyways. But here's what I really want you to feel and understand is that you have a choice right now to take on the energy that you desire. And will it be an uphill battle some days? Yes. And will it suck other days? Yes, it will. And will it be hard? And some days you're going to have courage and you're going to have to bite the bullet and you're going to have to step in and you're going to have to own it. Yeah, you will. But it's going to be worth it on the other side. Because we've got to move through this distortion and you've got to start taking personal responsibility for it. And you've got to start paying attention because that shit is going to fuck you right up. And all the work you just did for the last 3 months, if you're not paying attention to the vibration of everything, the food that you eat, the people you associate with, what you're putting in your ear, what you're putting and watching on television, every single thing is going to play a role, right? We've talked about mentalism. We've talked about truth. We talked about owning your power. This is a piece that I was like, okay, I'm going to drop it in because I also got a message from one of my other girlfriends today talking about how she went somewhere on Saturday and it was so hard for her to be there. And she's like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm like, well, let me tell you a little bit about this. Now, I also have a free masterclass I'm teaching this week, and I'm going to throw it in the show notes. It's called Exploit, and it's about shadow work. And a lot of you guys are moving through this, and I want to actually dive in this masterclass, the truth about it. And if you catch it late and you're listening to this like next week, next month, or whatever, the recording will always be available. So you can go and grab that in the show notes as well if you feel called to that, because a lot of us are ready. We're stepping in ready to be able to move this through. We're stepping in ready to be able to align in this field right now. We're stepping in and we're ready to own this part of us, to move this part of us through. But we're right now at the brink of paying attention. Where are you not paying attention? Where are you believing that it's all going to be okay, even though it feels like shit in your body? It's not. if you are questioning something and if it doesn't feel aligned and if you are irritated in it and you feel anxious around it, there's distortion there. It means it's not of truth. It's time for you to start paying attention more and more and more to all of this in your life. Because the more you can get in alignment with this and the more you can get that vibe locked right in, the more you expand, the more you can call in, the more juicy life becomes, the more desire, pleasure, joy, love, all of that can come in. But when you're looking through the lens of distortion, it can't hit your field in the way that you are actually meant to serve in. So I'm going to leave you with that thought today. And as always, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you making the podcast what it is. I appreciate you serving in this energy field to help move this into the world. And like I always say, if you have a friend that could benefit from this, share it out. You know, if you feel called to this, share it out on your social, tag me on Instagram, help me get the word out because it's us in this mission together, right? Moving this through. So I will leave you today with episode 35, the vibration of distortion. In all things, just remember, you fucking matter. I'll see you again in the next episode.